to talk about the kind of depressing future, but we're going to make it positive at the end, I promise. But our president wanted to be here with us, Irache Garcia Perez, but she was unable to, so she sent us a short video message to welcome you, so we're just going to play that.
Dear friend, it's an honor to welcome you today to the European Youth Event 2025, surrounded by the energy and passion of Europe's young generation. Europe couldn't be what it is today without the drive and determination of its youth. You are the ones who break boundaries, who dream for a fair and more sustainable world, who refuse to accept what others say it's impossible. And you are right, because politics is not just for the few or for the past. Politics belongs to all of us and above all to the future. A future that it's being written today with your ideas, your voices and your energy. It grows every neighbor, in every city, in every country of this union. Young people are leading change, demanding climate justice, fighting for equality, standing up for their rights, and they're defending democracy. As socialists and democrats, we believe in a Europe that protects, that supports, and that builds. A Europe that stands against hate and inequality, that puts people at the center, and that leaves no one behind. So, young people of Europe, raise your voices, demand change, claim your space, and never let anyone tell you that you cannot change the world. Because if history has taught us one thing, is that when young people move, the world moves with them. Thank you for being the engine of change. Thank you for keeping the European dream alive. Together, let's keep building a fairer, more united future for everyone.
Slay, 'cause I came here to slay, 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 came here to slay.
Dear friend, it's an honor to welcome you today.
So I'm going to give the floor now to Vivian Constanzo. She was one of our youngest MEPs, was a jurist, and was elected to effect change and make a Europe that works for everyone. Vivian, you have the floor.
Thank you. Welcome to the European Parliament. Welcome to Strasbourg. I was yesterday with all the other Social Democratic MEPs in Lisbon for our group meeting, and I had the chance to get back here because I'm living around the corner in Freiburg. So Schengen, to be honest, is one of my issues at the moment. I was discussing with Jeff Baden-Württemberg just a few minutes ago about Schengen, and for me it was crossing the border today to come here. Something for me it's daily life, but we know how difficult it is at the moment, especially from Germany, to come here. And you just said it, I'm one of the new MEPs, and I just want to start with one point was important for me. During the election campaign, I said the sentence, European Union is not good. And there was a big issue in the newspaper. How can a young person running for the European elections from the Social Democratic Party can say the European Union is not good? But I said it not because I don't like the European Union or I think the European Union is not a good idea. It's a brilliant idea. But I think we need to talk more about what we want to change. That's why my slogan for this campaign was Europe needs an update. And we need to make it better and to protect it in this form because we need to make it better. We need reforms. And that's why I'm here. And I think also that's why you are here, because we want to change something. I'm really curious about your questions and your comments. And I would say don't talk too much. Let's discuss it. First of all, Glenn, I think it's you.
And let's do.
Yeah, let's do.
And let's do things. Yeah, so thanks. And then I give you over to Glenn, who is, I'm going to have to get this right, the EU Commissioner for Intergenerational Fairness, Culture, Sport, and most importantly, Youth.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, youth. For me, it's a great privilege to be here, first of all. This is my political family. This is my political group. And to have the opportunity to have this exchange with many of you, to listen also to your ideas and your views on the different issues that are important to you, is an important part of my job, because it's through this exchange, through this direct engagement, that we learn to appreciate the issues that matter the most to you, like, for example, decent jobs, like affordable housing and mental health, and issues that will make a difference in your life. I want to tell you a little bit more about me first to get this started. I started my term as commissioner around 6 months ago, and since then I have led the European Commission's efforts to engage with youth, because we want to have stronger bridges to youth, stronger connections, and we want to have youth play a much deeper role in the way we shape responses and the way we shape solutions to the challenges that we face. And this becomes much more important. It becomes almost a strategic priority for the European Union as populist movements grow, as people become more disengaged, and with this escalating disinformation in our democracies. Our democracies that depend on active participation of citizens, but most importantly, of our youth. Without this engagement, we will not ever have a fair society and fair political participation or representation in the way we design policies. This is why I'm keenly aware of the importance of empowering youth, of empowering young people, having myself been involved in activism, in youth movements from a very young age. I know this very well. Especially my journey through politics has started here in the European Parliament as a trainee first, and there I could witness firsthand what it means to take an active role in shaping policies, in shaping solutions. Which is why nowadays, from a different role, I am an advocate of involving young people more directly and more meaningfully in European policymaking and in our decision-making processes. And it's clear that we have many challenges to face. Amongst them are the cost of living, peace, global stability, economic stability, climate change and the environment, housing and quality of life. And these are key issues, but what makes me hope, what gives me comfort, is the fact that the majority of our peers, the majority of youth, still believe that the European Union is part of the solution to these challenges. They still see that this union can bring a positive impact on their daily lives. So it gives me hope to see that young people still have hope in our work. But this alone, this trust that we have, this is something that we've earned, and it is something that we must continue to work on every day by translating these challenges, these priorities, into concrete actions. We want to act on issues like housing and decent jobs. So on housing, and this is a topic which, in my opinion, is directly linked to financial security, but also to issues related to mental health. This is one of the most pressing issues for young people. And it's exactly why, as European Commission, my colleague in the Socialist group as well, Commissioner Jorgensen, next year will present the first ever European Affordable Housing Plan, through which we will try to help member states, support member states in improving affordable housing for all. And then on decent jobs, another colleague in the Socialist family, Vice President Roxana Minzatu, has recently launched the Union of Skills, an initiative through which we want to equip young people with the knowledge, with the competences, with the skills that they need, with the training, both educationally and professionally, to be able to contribute in our societies, in our democracies, but also in our economies. And then I want to tell you a little bit about my work to give young people a more prominent voice and to involve them much more in the way we do policy. In the first 100 days of this new commission, together with my colleagues, every commissioner has organized a youth policy dialogue to engage directly on areas of our portfolio, which enabled us to listen to concerns, to listen to aspirations, to listen to dreams of young people across the European Union. And that is now being translated into concrete action. Crucially, we want to make this systematic. We want to have this process continue every year on until the end of the mandate, and to continue to get this direct feedback from youth. On top of that, we have also introduced a youth check through which we analyze and assess every policy initiative, every major policy initiative that we propose from a youth lens, where we scrutinize the impact on youth of our legislation. And finally, we also launched the EU Youth Stakeholders Group, which brings together youth councils, organizations from across Europe to give us feedback and to discuss the different initiatives. I had this exchange on my strategy on intergenerational fairness, which I will come with next year. And this is a dialogue that we will continue to strengthen. I also want to mention the President's Youth Advisory Board, a board which will be composed of young people from across the European Union, which will advise the President on issues that matter to youth, but also act as a sounding board for us to be able to sound ideas and get the feedback on them from a youth perspective. And finally, we want to look forward to a European Union which is built on the involvement of young people and stakeholders on different issues in our portfolios. In this respect, I want to mention one of the key initiatives that I'm working on, which is related to cyberbullying. I'm currently working on the first action plan against cyberbullying, tackling the huge problems of harassment and bullying in our societies. It's a wider societal issue. It's one which is directly linked to the well-being of our citizens. It's literally becoming a matter of life and death in some cases. I've heard shocking stories from across the continent. And my contribution in the next few months on this will be to deliver a plan which will be built on the definition of what cyberbullying is, on the exchange of best practices, on awareness raising around the issue, on encouraging young people to seek support, but also to report cases of cyberbullying, and working with civil society and stakeholders to ensure that we flag and report cases and take down harmful content online. This is just a flavor of my work. I want to, again, conclude, because this is a dialogue, so I want to listen as well to your views and your perspectives on these many issues, by thanking the Socialist family, the Socialists and Democrats in the European Parliament, for organizing this event, for acknowledging the valid role of young people in our societies, in our democracies. And it's clear to me that we have to work together to ensure that we can live in peace and to be able to deliver prosperity to our citizens. So with that, I want to end here. I want to encourage you to speak up, to be active, and to make your voices heard. And I want to thank you for being here and for contributing to this discussion.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Thomas has just landed, so I'm throwing him in at the deep end. But before we go into a big round, would you like to introduce yourself briefly, Mr. Bayada? You can't make any difficult questions to him today because it is his birthday.
Yeah, you need to sing for him.
No, we skip that.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to me. No. You're crazy.
You're crazy because
Okay. We need to do a wish. Now we're going to do a wish all together. What are we going to wish for? Someone shout something. Freedom. So this is to freedom and peace in the world, guys. When do I eat this? When do I eat this?
You have to eat it in front of us.
Okay. Later. So, thank you for this. I wasn't expecting this. I was gonna say, listen, I came on my birthday here because I truly believe it is something very important. This is my first time as an MEP, so as an MEP I wanted to be here to discuss, to think, and to find solutions together. We will not solve the world in one day or in 2 days, but it's a start. When we are here together, from all across Europe, we can discuss, and we can involve ourselves as youth. I'm still youth, okay? I'm 30 plus 1, so we're gonna stick to the 30 for now. So, I come from Malta. As I said, first time elected on behalf of the Labour Party of Malta, hence I'm part of the Socialist and Democrats family. Okay, it's okay. I'm a scientist, but I'm still here because being a politician doesn't mean that you need to have some kind of skill or some kind of type of studies. Being a politician is living life and talking about the realities, talking about the stories, not only of yourself, but of everyone, of every single person you encounter. And that was the motto of my campaign. Your story is my story. And because I truly believe that we must continue to talk about the stories of people, we really need to transmit not only political narratives, but the daily realities of people. And that's why I picked that subject, that motto, and I still carry it close to my heart today. And back 1 year ago, I was a bit shocked and overwhelmed with the responsibility that I was given. I did not expect it. How can a young person expect to be elected his first time round, being not a conventional politician and having no resources? But here I am because I carry with me my own stories, but also that of others. And I want to pick one story. You said something, and I want to applaud the work you're gonna do about cyberbullying. One story is I was cyberbullied all my youth in a period where we had started to have, I don't know if you're too old for this, but all these blogs, MySpace and stuff like this. It was the beginning of something that changed the face of the world. And I was one of the very first to ever get cyberbullied constantly. And I carry with me the sorrows that I carried throughout my youth. And today I feel that I may or may not have won over them and over the impacts that has left and scarred on my whole life. But it is also something that happens to hundreds of thousands of youth across Europe and the world. So yes, this is what I mean by talking about the stories of people, the stories that are untold, the voices that are not heard, those that feel voiceless. And that is my mission. As long as my political career will ever be, I don't want to know or speculate. But that is what I want to do. And in order to not make a long introduction, I'm just going to tell you what my committees are and where I serve. I'm a member of the ENVI committee, it's the Environment Committee, where, amongst others, I'm working hard on water resilience, the crisis we are facing across Europe, not in the Mediterranean anymore, but across Europe, where we don't have enough water for the demand. We have polluted water. We have pollution across everywhere, with forever chemicals, for example. That's something I'm working hard on and will continue to do. I'm also a member of the Fisheries Committee, unheard voices of small-scale fishermen that no one cares about. But when we have the fish on the plate, that's how we do it. We eat and we don't thank the sacrifices that are done in the middle of the ocean, where people cannot see. and hence do not speak about their stories. And finally, I'm also a member of the Economy Committee, where I'm working a lot about the concept of an economy of well-being, one that not only looks at the GDP as progress, but also the investments in environment and social aspects. And here I come to one important statement that I will do, is my true belief that spending for defense should not come at the cost of our priorities of environmental and social progress.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, everyone. Just so everyone knows, we only have a very short session. Immediately after this, we're going to be changing the world, because to do all these amazing things, we need to win elections. So we're going to be making we're going to have a workshop where we teach each other how to make social democratic propaganda. We're going to make some TikToks. It's going to be great. So we're going to have a quick exchange to the room. You press your microphone to speak and turn it off when you want to speak. Please make your intervention as short as possible. Obviously, we're going to talk about everything, and I feel like everyone wants to talk about every subject. But if we could start just by talking about housing, because it's on the program, and everyone will be annoyed if we didn't talk about housing. So does anyone have a question on housing? Yes, please, sir.
So for the Euro Commissioner, I was wondering if you had heard of the recommendations that ESA made, the European Student Assembly, on housing specifically?
Sure. We'll collect questions, so we'll do 3 at a time. So can we have is there anyone other question on housing? Yeah, just at the back there.
Not necessarily on housing, but I am wondering how we're going to include youth from outside of the EU's borders, so especially youth in the neighboring regions.
Okay, do you have to a specific person, or are you happy for anyone to take that?
What is the question?
I think you all need to think about this question, so
The question is,
anyone.
how are we going to involve youth outside of the EU's borders?
Okay.
And maybe a housing question. Come on, one more housing question, just so I can say I've done it. There we go. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mansour. I'm coming from Madrid, Spain. So, you know, we are facing a huge housing problem in Spain. And there has been like lots of protests and demonstration in last month and all over the Spain. So, as a MEP and EU, what you suggest, how we can solve this problem? Like, I see my friends, they're coming from Syria or Barcelona or Granada, but they are sleeping in airport for the night because they don't get the houses and the rooms. And when they find it, they're asking for something that they cannot provide it. How can a young person can present a pay slip of 2,500 euro, like without the taxes or net salary? That's the problem. Like, what you suggest and what, like, how you're gonna address this? My question is.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
So, on housing, I am not aware of the recommendations made by the Students' Union, but we would be more than interested in receiving this feedback, because this is the kind of collaboration that we need, trying to listen to the different success stories, recommendations, but also having an exchange of best practices on this, I think would be quite helpful to inspire ourselves from the different solutions that have been developed in member states. But the way we start to make headway and progress on an issue as complex as housing is if we have a collaborative approach, if we work together, regional authorities, national authorities, at European level, to develop a comprehensive plan on how to really mitigate the challenges. Then on the question on involving youth outside the European Union, actually the youth policy dialogues that I mentioned in my earlier intervention involved engagement with youth who are outside the borders of the European Union as well. In all the discussions that we've had, we've tried to bring in the perspective of young people coming from enlargement countries, in the Western Balkans as well, but also from other parts of the world. So, for example, the dialogue that my colleague, the High Representative, organized was with young people coming from outside the Union. But I'm also privileged that in my portfolio I cover sport and culture. So through sport and culture, I think we can bridge with different countries around the world, have exchanges on issues that revolve or surround, are about our values, like human rights, like democracy, like inclusion, solidarity, and respect, through art and culture. The beautiful thing about the cultural sector is that it unites and it brings people together. And this is something that I think where we have potential to exploit. And I'm quite keen to do that in my work.
First of all, I would like to mention that this committee, this housing committee we have in the European Parliament, is quite new, and it's a success of the Social Democratic Group. Then we have this official housing committee, and especially also from the Italians, because they put it on the agenda again and again and again. I think this is a really important first step. To be honest, a small step, but an important step, because if we won't have been this committee, then we don't have any chances to discuss this issue in this specific way. And I guess this is a good thing for this European Parliament, also for the Commissioner, for Dan, that he has this committee and they can work together, and also that they added housing to this Commissioner portfolio. And as you said, Dan will present this agenda or his plan, and I'm very curious about it. But there are two things I want to mention also about young people abroad. But first of all, my focus in my work is my transport committee, transport and tourism. I don't know why they are put together. Nobody can explain me, but transport and tourism is one committee in this European Parliament. First of all, it's transport, because for me, mobility is also a part where we have to discuss housing. For me, it's good to have this committee housing, but we need to think housing in all our committees, with energy, with environment, and also with mobility. How we can give people chances to come from A to B, to work in a city and to live in another city. Also, cross-border mobility is a big issue. And I'm happy that our Commissioner, Tzitzikostas, will present by the end of the year a plan how to buy tickets in one app for the trains in the European Union. Because I don't know if somebody's from France. Somebody already here. Europe Talks is an idea to have a social democratic platform for party members or social democratic thinking people who are not active in the parties who want to connect. This is the idea. But one of our slogans is, the world is not ending at the European borders. We need to have partners. We need to empower progressives outside the European Union. And this is also a thing that we as young MEPs have on our agenda. And we are always, it's not like that you're doing a project and that's it. That's not how it works. It works if you think it in your daily work, if you think about it and if you mention it always, and if you be influenced in it. And I think this is how also housing should work. You have the main committee, but also in the other daily work.
Very rapidly, our family has pushed so much to put housing on the agenda. Whilst housing is not an EU competence, but there are many things that we can target as actions that can help this housing crisis. For example, tackling short-term rentals, okay, which are a crisis in many cities, such as Madrid. Is there anyone from Lisbon here, or Portuguese? Buon San Antonio, allora. So we just arrived from Lisbon, and we have been doing a discussion specifically on housing. It's a big crisis in the city where youngsters cannot find housing because the housing stock is taken up by short-term rentals. So it is something that us as socialists and democrats are pushing forward to, in order to find ways, innovative ways, in taxation, in economic ways, in state aid rules, but also regulations that can control the situation of short-term rentals. Because at the end of the day, we all like to go on Airbnb and find cheap places to stay in our favorite cities. But also we need to also look on the other side. So in order to not harm our tourism wishes, we also need to see also the lives that we might be destroying of youths who want to move to cities in order to progress in their life.
You should join a transport committee, because I'm always alone with this opinion outside of the Social Democratic Party.
If the day has more than 24 hours, maybe.
I'm going to stop. We're not going to control you the whole time, but I would like to just quickly ask if anyone has any questions on jobs specifically, on employment. Yeah, in red, thanks.
Young people often find themselves in unpaid or underpaid internships. Do you believe the Commission should push for a legal ban or unpaid internships across the EU?
Thank you. That's a great question. I think we've got a very short answer to that. Yes, please.
So I have, continuing to that, I mean, I know now in the European Union it needs to be paid when you do an internship or a traineeship back in the European Union, so that's great. But how do you provide that at the same time you provide internships? Because the problem, I mean, I'm half Italian, and I know that in Italy it's like if you want a traineeship that is paid, you will not get it. So how do we ensure both of them, since in every university at least more and more you need a traineeship to finish up your master, your bachelor, whatever. So how do you deal with both of those questions? Thank you.
Thank you. And if we could have one more question on employment, please. Yes, please.
I have a question about employment. The problem is I'm coming from Germany, and we have a great workforce who is coming from other countries in Europe, mostly Eastern European countries. And there are young people who are coming to Germany and work there under very bad conditions and are very heavily underpaid. And I just wanted to ask, what is the S&D fraction doing about this topic?
The EU, sorry, I didn't quite catch the last bit of the question. What's the EU doing generally, or?
What the Socialists and Democrats are especially doing to represent those people who are migrating in other countries and working there because they have no trade union behind them or anything, and they're working for over hours and underpaid and everything.
Third country nationals working in the EU, essentially.
Yeah, but also European citizens.
Okay, thanks. Who wants to who wants to go first this time? Vivian?
Do you want to start?
No, go.
Go. First of all, about internships, because yeah, you were smiling. I think it's Alicia Homs, one of our also young MEPs, second term right now. She can't be here today, but it's one of her big issues to fight for this paid internships, and not only paid, so really like, you know, good internships. And because I'm also in the committee and I know how these discussions are, that's why I want to talk about how this discussion is inside the parliament to implement these things. The problem is that Alicia is doing a really, really great job to put it on the agenda all times. But we have conservatives in the parliament, we have liberals in the parliament, we have people in the parliament who don't really care about paid internships, and she's really struggling in this thing, and she's doing a great job. I had a big discussion with conservatives from Germany about this issue because they're saying we don't have the problem. And I think this is like this always German thinking. It's not our problem, that's why it's not a problem in the European Union. And I'm always telling them, because they're also in the employment committee, wake up, it's a problem and we have to talk about it and we have to fight for it. I'm pretty sure they will come to a good end because Alicia is a great person, but also as Ample committee and also as Social Democrats, we need to empower her and to support her. Maybe you want to
yeah, Glenn, do you want to come in quickly?
So I think, look, you mentioned, we were discussing housing a few moments ago. And housing is a best example of how the socialist group was successful through its advocacy, through its activism in putting this topic on the political agenda, ensuring that we do not just have now a European Parliament committee responsible for housing, but for the first time ever, for the first time ever, we have a commissioner with a title and a portfolio with a responsibility on housing. And that is something that should inspire us for our work and our activism in other areas. Now, when we speak about issues like internships, I was an intern myself. So I started my career as an intern in this institution back more than a decade ago. And I know how hard it is to do an internship and to have a decent quality of life on a low salary. Fortunately, I was doing an internship within this political family, and this political family has always understood and valued the contribution that these internships give when you're starting your career. And as a commission, this I think should be reflected in our work. I know that Vice President Pinzato, who is responsible, she is also part of this political family, is working on this issue, and we have had processes through which we introduced, for example, quality standards for internships. But it's something that we must build on as we go along to address the other challenges that remain. It will definitely not be easy. Nothing, all the good things in life involve a challenge. But if we work hard at it, if we make valid, strong arguments and really be vocal about it, then I believe we can make progress.
Great, thanks. Would someone be willing to answer, respond to the question on migrants working rights in Europe? Thomas, do you think you could? Thank you.
I'm going to bring an example with my country. The main hospital, public hospital in my country is, at this point, run by migrants who moved to Malta to work. If we lose them, who's going to take care of our healthcare? Who will take care of our jobs and our running of our basic services? So we need to start from there. How much we actually depend on foreigners who come to give us service. When we start thinking in that way, then things become clearer. They have the right of a decent life. And that's where we need to start from. Okay? Our lives are the same. The services they do are on par of any other job that is done, regardless of nationality. And therefore, it is extremely essential that we see that we offer the best of what we can to anyone who comes to Europe in order to, at the end of the day, give us service.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think it's basic statement.
Thank you.
I forgot the question, but I can perhaps be a little bit more direct.
Sure, but we need another round of questions after. So
yeah, but
as quick as you can.
Very quickly, I can be a little bit more direct on this. Those people who are coming to Europe to work should be given the same level of protection, safeguards, and treatment as workers in the European Union. And it's as simple as that. These are people, these are workers. So,
thank you, that's clear. Okay, guys, the clock is really ticking, so 3 extremely short questions on anything, please. Yes, just there, thanks.
As young women, we will not experience any gender equality any soon. How will the European Union, and especially the S&D, go forward to create some gender equality in my lifetime?
Thank you, that's clear. Yes, sir, over there.
Hello, my name is Tommy O'Connor and I'm from Ireland. And my question is, how long do you think it will take for the European Union to take hard, meaningful action and sanction Israel on its live-stream genocide with Palestine? Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Hi, thank you.
Yes, please, thanks.
Can I? Thank you. I invite you to go try to see how the different MEPs voted for the things. And it's very hard to access information for us young people. I have a project that shows, if you want to see what is being voted, talk with me. But for example, for the housing committee, we have like the left, the Patriots and ECN voting against it. And it's very hard for us to know what is being voted. So why doesn't the European Parliament make things way easier to see what is being voted?
I think the question is...
Why is it so hard to access what is being voted and how on the European Parliament? Thank you.
Yeah, Thomas wants to come in on that. Thomas, do you want to start straight with that? We're running out of time, so let's go. Really short.
To that guy over there, I'm still waiting for a reaction. I'm still waiting. I've been since September, since I was elected, insistingly, month after month, week after week, pressing. And I know that the socialist family is with us in order to ensure that there is action, because no single other death is acceptable. Okay, there have been 50,000 deaths, and it's totally unacceptable that this is gonna continue going on. So yes, we are waiting, we are pushing, and the socialist family is definitely strong on that point. Voting, it's also complicated for me. Okay, it's honestly very complicated, especially when you go to every single amendment. And might I want to tell you that for us who are voting, it's even more complicated, okay? Because it's made complicated in a way that is totally illegible to understand what's happening. We vote on lists which are never ending, and with numbers being spelled out. Amendment 1, yes, no. Amendment 2, yes, no. Amendment 3, and I'm not. Don't even tell me what was Amendment 1, because I already forgot, because I have eight pages. So yes, it's very complicated, and decisions are being taken in this way. So it's also something important to note. I don't know exactly for which vote exactly you are referring to on housing, but the votes are there, but you really need to study your way into understanding how they are. So I agree with you.
Thanks very much. The question on we're not forgetting it, obviously, the question on equality for women.
Yeah, as a young woman in this parliament, I think it's good that I'm not answering to this question, but it could be also like the male people here. I just want to share some experience in the parliament with you, because as I said, I'm from Germany, just around the corner, so I have many visitor groups. And especially all the people coming here, one of the most important questions for them is, why are you here as a young woman? And why are you doing transport? Really? And this is something like, come on, we are in the year 2025. And this is always the question. Or I wanted to enter the plenary, and there was a security, and they asked me, you are not an MEP, you can't enter. I said, yeah, I am. But you are so young, and you're a woman. I said, yeah. This is how it works in this house, and I think, especially in Strasbourg. Brussels is a bit more relaxed, and I think we need to break with these traditions also here. And one more story, because this was my most shocking story. I met an MP for National Parliament from Lithuania in September, right after the European elections. She was also quite young, and she came to me and said, yeah, she has this really personal question, because she wants to know what kind of issue I did wrong to start my career in the European Parliament, because normally it's something for ending the career, not for starting. And I thought, yeah, maybe this is the problem of this parliament, is people think like this, and we need to change and to bring young people in this parliament. And the Social Democratic group is one of the youngest groups in this parliament. And Thomas and me are 2 out of, I think, 14 or something, young people. And we're trying to push. But to your question, I would say let them answer.
Glenn has to leave very soon, so let's let him go first.
So I'll start with the question on gender equality. We need to include it systematically in whatever we do, in all our policies, in all our funding programs, and this has to feature. But we can have all the strategies in the world, we can have all the policies in the world, if we're not going to educate our citizens on what gender equality and what equality in general means, then it's all futile. We need to start by educating the younger members of society, from our children to youth, and then educate society in general on the importance of equality. So again, this has to be crucial to our efforts, like our equality strategy. And there I want to salute one of my former colleagues, former Commissioner for Equality, Helena Dalli from Malta as well, for really championing this cause and for really taking it forward. But let's focus on education, education, education. And then to the gentleman who asked the situation on Palestine and Gaza, it's a tragedy what we're witnessing. It's the worst of humanity, the worst of humankind. The fact that so many innocent people, children, women, civilians, who have nothing to do with what's going on, are being starved to death, is nothing short of shocking, nothing short of a catastrophe. So first of all, what we need to ensure is that aid, food, water, medicine reaches these people and reaches them fast, at scale, and through organizations who are equipped to do this work. So not through agents or other actors. And then, of course, we can enter into a discussion on the steps we take, but first we need to protect people, and we need food and water to reach those who are in need. And on the question on Parliament, these guys are probably much more aware of the systems.
If I may, I would like to applaud Commissioner Mikallef for actually speaking up on Gaza and having done so over the past weeks. He is one of the very few commissioners that actually speaks up and talks about the situation in Palestine. So on this, I want to commend him. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Guys, I'm really sorry, it's all we've got time for. We have another event here soon, but you can ask more questions to Thomas specifically tomorrow at 6 o'clock in town. So we're going to have another event tomorrow. You're both welcome.
6 o'clock in the morning?
No, in the evening. I'm not sure he'll be awake at that time. It's his birthday tonight, so I hope he's not awake.
I think he might still be awake because he's planning to celebrate this weekend.
But yeah, I just want to thank everyone much for coming. We have a TikTok workshop now. We're going to learn how to change the world together. Please stay for it. Thanks for coming, everyone. Well done. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
No, I wasn't.
That was really great.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to say, no, we don't talk about Gaza.
Why?